What's up, people? Hey, welcome to week 3 to 1102 here in what school is this? Gwinnett Tech. Yes, here I am coming to you live, Jeremiah Byers, your teacher, from Parkview. Oh, wait, that's not Parkview. This is just Gwinnett County. Okay, so let's get started. You got plenty of good stuff planned for this lecture to go over week 3 of 1102. I am going to be working out mostly of this PowerPoint. Let me show you something here. Okay. So when you come to our page, okay, I generally post lectures here for you to be able to watch, okay? But also I post them here where it says weekly lectures, if you didn't know that, okay? And here I have the stuff for the weeks, okay, week 1. And I post the PowerPoints. Now, usually I try to post them as a PDF, but for some reason my PDF has been kind of acting goofy. So other times I post them as an actual PowerPoint, which hopefully you can download if you want to download a copy of the notes, since I go over them anyways. Okay. Here are all the different lecture videos, especially the ones that I have, like when I have like done multiple parts and stuff. Okay. Like last week, week 2, lecture on work and existentialism, and then week 2, story of an hour video. And then like this week, we have the adulterous woman analysis that you're going to watch after this one. And when I finish recording this one, I'm going to put it right there so you'll see it for week 3. Okay. And then the PowerPoint that I'm using today is located right here also as well. Okay. To go ahead and address some things, I know some people are having problems still with the textbooks. You've been trying to go to the lessons, you've been trying to go to the lesson, whatever. And we have these like textbooks, right? And you click on it and it's this is so frustrating. I have updated several times trying to get this to work. The whole school is having a problem. And again, I'll send out another request through the university to ask them to the college to ask them to fix this problem. But I'm having the problem, you're having the problem. But the things that we're doing in this class do not actually require you to use those chapters, even though, of course, those are good chapters to still read in general, okay? Things I'm posting you to do are all here. The story of an hour, the quotes, all that. But I totally get why you want access. You paid for this course, which means you paid for a textbook. And it's embedded in the course, so you should be able to access it. So I'll continue to emailing my boss to see when we can get that worked out. All right, so let's get to my PowerPoint so I can go over everything that I want to go over this week. Okay, so let's see here. I want to do my slideshow from beginning, and now I want to share. I'm sharing. I'm not sharing. My name is Jeremy. I'm just sharing my screen. All right, week 3, 1102. Okay, notes on knowledge and notes on what to do for this week. This is what we're doing. This is what I'm going to talk about today, hopefully in 20 minutes. Discuss Le Petit Mort and how it appears in the story of an hour. I'm going to go over the waiter, which I already see I need to fix that quotation mark. Oh, that's bothering me. I'm going to go over student sample work to demonstrate quality. I'm going to discuss the semester novel, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. And I'm going to go over week 3 work, period. All right, so look. Le Petit Mort in the story of an hour. So we discussed how the Le Petit Mort, we mentioned last week, is an orgasm. Okay. Where does this appear in the story of an hour? Well, look, here is the infamous scene. There was something coming to her, and she was waiting for it fearfully. What was it? She did not know. It was too subtle and elusive to name, but she felt it creeping out of the sky, reaching toward her through the sounds, the scents, the color that filled the air. Now her bosom rose and fell tumultuously, meaning she was breathing hard. Okay. She was beginning to recognize this thing that was approaching to possess her. She was, being taken over by it, and she was striving to beat it back with her will, as powerless as her two white, slender hands would have been. When she abandoned herself and she freed herself, okay, a little whispered word escaped her slightly parted lips. She said it over and over under her breath. Free, free, free. Okay, that's when she's having the action. I mean, that's when the orgasm comes to its peak and she's screaming out, free. Okay. The vacant stare and the look of terror that had followed it went from her eyes. They stayed keen and bright. Her pulses beating fast. Oh my God, the pulse, the pulse! And the coursing blood warmed and relaxed every inch of her body. She did not stop to ask if it were or were not a monstrous joy that held her. Okay, so look, she had an orgasm at the thought of her husband being dead and the realization of what that does for her. Okay. This is written by a woman named Kate Chopin in the late 1800s. And this story was very controversial. But what's funny about the story is that the men who read the story didn't understand what was happening, because back in the 1800s, men didn't believe or care that women had orgasms. Okay. That wasn't a necessary part of intimacy for men in the 1800s, and even probably some guys in the 1900s and 2000s. All right. And so, but women read this story and they knew what was happening. And it was, scandalous. And they would pass around the story from their women's group, and they'll read it and they'll giggle, and they would understand that this woman's having this sexual release. Okay. And the big irony is that, like, her husband, who is supposed to please her. Okay. The only way that he could really please her is by dying. And that's kind of the statement that Chopin is telling these men. You don't really actually bring us pleasure at all. All right. You're selfish assholes. The only thing that can really bring me that kind of pleasure is your death. Okay. So Kate Chopin wrote a lot of this kind of a very anti-marriage, anti-men kind of, but also, about the the patriarchy, the control of women by male-dominated society. Okay, so le petit mort equals orgasm. Okay, and so let me move my little screen here. Okay, the understanding of what her husband's death means to her life now causes her orgasm. Okay, it causes her orgasm because she realizes that, like, she's gonna be a widow, which is great because she's gonna have all of his money. Because this is a time period in which women couldn't work. I mean, it's not like she's a gold digger. Okay, she was a woman. She was not allowed to. At this time in the 1800s, she didn't have a job. She didn't have a career. And if she did have a job or career, she'd be paid dirt poor. Dirt poor. Okay, she would not be paid the same wage as men would. All right, they did not have equal pay. So for a woman to have any type of comfort in her life, which is not a bad thing. We all strive for comfort in our life. It doesn't mean that we're like the bourgeoisie just because we have enough money to have a comfortable house and to be able to buy a few things like sweatshirts, okay? Not live in rags. But in order for her to have any type of comfort, she had to have a husband. But now that he's dead, though, what's fantastic about this for her is that she has his money now, okay? She doesn't have to be dirt poor. All right. And she can live her life, and she doesn't have to serve anybody else, because back then women were servants pretty much. The wives were servants to their husbands. Okay. So, and this story brings up the point that, look, men are born free and society allows them to be free. Society's made to keep men free. But women have two selves. And this is kind of like what Simone de Beauvoir talks about also as well. There's the natural self, which is free. Women are born like any other creature. She's born free. All right. But the problem, though, is that women are born into society. We live in a society, and society has deemed women subservient to men. Okay. So in nature, women are born free, just like how men are born free in nature. But we're not in nature, we're in society. And for society, men are free still, but women are subservient. So they have their free natural self and they have their society self, the subservient self. Okay. So Miss Mallard's little death, her le petite mort, or her orgasm results in the death of her subservient self. That's the part of her that dies, is the subservient self. That dies away. And so what's left is her free self. That's why she screams out, free, free. Okay. That's what's left for her. She's free. But when Mr. Mallard returns and she sees him, her free self dies immediately because she's no longer free. She's once again now married to a man who's alive, who has say over her life. But because her subservient self has already died, she has no more lives to live. So then she croaks and just dies. I hurt my neck. Okay, she dies. When her husband died, thought she died, he died. Her subservient self died. And then when realizes he was alive, she couldn't resurrect that old self of hers, so she dies. Both of her selves have died. Okay, so that is the whole petite mort in the story of an hour. Okay. Now you read the adulterous woman, and in that you know that if you didn't spot it, there is an orgasm scene in that story too. Okay, and a part of her dies as well, and she's different at the end. You're gonna watch my analysis video after you watch this lecture, going over the adulterous woman and seeing how it connects to the story of an hour and where that scene pops up. Okay. All right. Now, all this relates to the waiter. Okay. The adulterous woman, Janine and the adulterous woman, all this relates to the waiter. Okay. Sartre, who remember is essentially emotionally married to, in real life, to Simone de Beauvoir. Okay. Who you've read quotes about, all right, and who is very much about this idea about women and subservience and stuff. And then Sartre was best friends with Camus, who wrote The Adulterous Woman. So all these three people, you know, they form this triangle of existentialism, okay? So Sartre's the waiter. The waiter is a role that has been created by society. There's no waiter in nature. When people are born, there's no waiter there, okay? It's created in society. But society is not natural. It's not the natural world. It is the social world, all right? And so, you know, if you are playing this role, okay, in society, that's not natural. It's not natural for us to play a role in the natural world. We play roles in society. Society is not natural, and it creates these unnatural roles for us to play that don't actually exist in nature. Because of this, anxiety, depression, pessimism, all this comes from trying to play a role that is not natural to oneself. We're not made that way, okay? So these are types of waiters in which we encounter, these roles that we encounter every day. Conformity to someone's expectations. Literally to conform means to change the way you are to fit the way other people or institutions or places, organizations want you to be. That's conformity, which is unnatural. Okay. You are changing who you naturally are to fit this role, this waiter role that someone else has set up for you. Okay. And that could be in a religion. All right. That could be in a social club. It could be in a clique. All right. Which goes into like this whole idea of like following trends, keeping up with the Joneses. We need to have these cars, these possessions, materialism. All right. I mean, in nature, things you need to survive are there, and everything else isn't important, really. Okay. And so the need to like be hip, the need to like change your clothes to fit with the trend, the need to do all these things, the need to have a gender reveal party, which we did for our second child. Okay. We didn't start a fire or anything, which is, you know, great. So like, you know, the need to do these things that really the only reason why we're thinking about those things is because of the fact that society and other people are doing them. This can cause anxiety and depression problems. Okay. Gender norms are society made. men are supposed to be this way, right? And women are supposed to be this way, this way, okay? And that like guys who are this way, well, they're not really men, all right? There's something wrong with them. And women who are women, who are this way, they're like, oh, that's not the way women are supposed to be. Like, what? That's weird. And so gender norms is a bunch of bullshit. That's what gender norms are. It's a bunch of garbage crap, okay? These are forms of the waiter role. The waiter, which does not really exist and is only there to serve other people. And this role is created by people to be served. All right, it's unnatural. It's not who we really are. And so when we try to fit into this box, into this role to play, we are left feeling with anxiety, depression, pessimism, negativity, stress, all those things. And you gotta free yourself. Now, of course, you can't totally free yourself. I mean, I need a job. I gotta make money because I don't live in nature. I don't live out in the woods. I live here. I live in DeKalb County. I pay taxes. I drive a car. All right. And so I gotta have this job. Do you hear me, principal? I need this job. So, we conform. We do that. And it's really hard. And so that's why, you gotta find a way to like exist as free as you can, yet also still survive where you are. Okay. All right. So that's the whole waiter thing. If you have more questions, email me. It is, oh my God, it's 8:52. I'm trying to get this done by 9:10. Okay. Student work. Here we go. Listen, I'm about to put two sample pieces of kids' work from this class. There's 85 kids of you. 85 kids of you. That's weird. That doesn't sound right. 85 of you. You're not all kids. There's plenty of you who are not high school students who are doing dual enrollment. All of you are adults. Okay. So there's 85 students total. If you are one of the 85 who you see your sample work up here, don't worry, your name is not on it, and I don't even know who it is. I don't look at any names when I grade work. That helps me to not do any type of like favoritism stuff. So I don't know whose work is whose. Okay. Someone who's been emailing me and we've been like nice, friendly, chatty through email. If you see your work here, I have no idea that's you. Okay. So don't be like, oh my God, he used my work. And it was like, not good. I have no idea. I did not pay attention at all to names, and your name is not even on this work. Okay. All right. So your grades are not pass or fail. Okay. And they're not completion grades. It's like, oh, you did it. You get full credit. You get 100. This is not like that. All right. These are quality grades. Quality work is the most important aspect of this class. Okay. You got to put effort into your work. All right. I don't expect you all to conform to my perspective at all. This is not a class where you're indoctrinated. Okay. Nothing. I don't care if I don't agree with your perspective, but you got to put effort into your perspective. I am grading you all on your effort. Okay. Someone whose work shows little effort, even if the answer is technically correct, will still receive a lower grade than a student who has a more thoughtful and lengthier response, even if I do not agree with their interpretation. Okay. Whoever puts more thought and time and effort into their work will get the higher grade. Okay. This is not a math test where like the right answer is the right answer. Okay. This is not a class where like C and B and D responses, on a multiple choice test will decide your grade. Okay. This takes work and effort and quality. Okay. So person A, turn in work like this for the finding sources assignment. For what is le petit mort, they wrote le petit mort means low death and symbolizes an orgasm. And even though I say explain in your own work, explain. Existentialism is a philosophical theory about individuals being able to make meaningful decisions. Okay. This shows very little effort into explaining these ideas and talking about them. Okay. While this is one response, just one response on the first one about question about what is the le petit mort. Okay. And for any of you out there who are like, oh, they just probably just like copy and pasted that. I checked because I copied this response and I pasted it into Google and it did not pop up anywhere. This is an original response. Okay. This person wrote, Le Petit Mort was a very popular term in the 18th, 19th centuries. It had many different meanings. Le Petit Mort symbolizes a short period of time when a person is unaware, unconscious, almost like when someone faints or is dizzy. It's hard for the person to focus. Le Petit Mort had a sexual meaning, as well referred to as a sexual release by physicians during medieval times. Le Petit Mort also was used in a lot of different literature, for example, the Canterbury Tales by Chaucer and many plays done by Shakespeare. At last, Le Petit Mort had a psychological meaning that many modern philosophers describe as a psychological loss after the sexual act of orgasm. In a sense, the person loses a part of themselves. Awesome. So the person on the left, for 3 of their responses, they wrote 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. And this person on the right, for just 1 of the 5 responses, they wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines. Okay. The person on the right gets full credit. Full credit. Okay. Person on the left got a passing grade because they did the work and it's passing. And I'm not like a total jerk. Okay. But they didn't make an A because that's not an A response. Okay. Correct responses get passing grades because they're correct. But you know, we have 4 designations of correct grades. A D is passing, a C is passing, a B is passing, and A is passing. If this class was pass or fail, both of these would pass. There's just 2. There's 1 pass and the other options fail. There's 2 choices: pass, fail. Here we don't have just pass, fail. We have fail, which is an F, 1 option F. Okay, or we have 4 layers of passing: D quality, C quality, B quality, A quality. Okay, so you know if your answer is correct, you're going to get a passing grade. But like your answer needs to also reflect what level of passing you want. Do you want the highest level of passing, which is an A, or do you want just the basic level of passing, which is a D, C, B? Okay. All right. There you go. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay. Semester novel. We're almost done. These are all books. If you didn't know that, these are books. Okay. All right. So you need to select a novel to read this semester. You don't have to pick one of mine. You have to find a book to read this semester. You have to read a book. And I want you to swear on whatever religious deity you believe in that it's a book that you have not finished yet. Maybe you started the book, okay? But it cannot be a book that you've already read. I want you to read a book this semester on your own. All right, I want you to pick a book, or if you already have a book, or you received a book for Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, okay? Or whatever. Maybe there's a Satan gift giving holiday that you practice if you're a Satanist. All right. Don't want to discriminate. All right. But if you have you should have some sort of book, okay, for this class. You will write about this novel in essay 3. That's why you're reading it. Okay. You got to find a book to read this semester. And this book cannot be a book that is commonly read in school. I don't want a book that's like you're reading in class or you read last semester. If you're in 11th grade doing dual enrollment and you're all reading The Great Gatsby, I don't want you to use The Great Gatsby for this assignment. All right, so no one can write about The Great Gatsby. No one can write about Of Mice and Men. No one can write about The Odyssey. No one can write about anything Shakespeare. No one can write about The Crucible. I'm a high school teacher. I teach all the levels. I know the books that are commonly taught in high school. Okay, and so you need to pick a book that is that you've never read before, or that you're in the middle of reading, which is fine. Okay, that is not a high school book. It's not a book that you were taught it. I don't want you to read a book or to write your essay on a book in which you've been taught about that book. I want your paper 3 to be completely 100% original from your research and your understanding. Okay, so if you never read Native Son, that's a freaking awesome book and it is hardcore. Then pick up Richard Wright's reading Native Son from like the 1940s and read that book. Great book. Okay. And so like I know for me, like in high school, okay, Catcher in the Rye. I had read about how people at other schools read Catcher in the Rye. I'd seen on TV movies people reading Catcher in the Rye. In my high school over at Berkmar back in 1999, we didn't read The Catcher in the Rye. Okay. So like, I was curious. I wanted to actually read The Catcher in the Rye. If I was a dual enrollment student, or even as an adult, and there was a book that I know a lot of people have read before, a lot of people read this book in school, but I never read that book, but I want to know like what they're doing, then this is an opportunity to read that book, like Moby Dick. Let's say you never read Moby Dick. You were never assigned to read Moby Dick, but you always hear about it because it's a classic and you want to read Moby Dick. That's cool. I just want you to be true and honest and real, and that pick a book that you've not been taught. Okay. It can be a book that you've always meant to get around to read, you wish you had read, you want to understand what people are finding so interesting. Awesome. I just want it to be pure and honest and true, that you were not taught anything about that book. Okay. Because I want your analysis for essay 3 to be 100% original and not just regurgitating what other people have told you. But here's the stipulation. It must be a narrative. It can be fiction or nonfiction, but it has to be a narrative. It has to tell a story. Okay. It can't just be informational. It cannot be informational. It's not a textbook. It's not, all right. It has to tell one consistent story. All right. Here are some suggestions. All these books work and they're all fantastic. They're all different. Find a book. If you're not sure if a book is appropriate, send me an email and ask me. Okay. Send me an email and ask me. All right. Last slide. We made it. All right. Week 3. So you have 8 things to do. Get on it. I'm posting this lecture today. It's Friday. It's Friday the 21st. So you have plenty of time. First, you're going to watch the lecture on the you're watching this lecture right now. I mean, this is the very first thing, is that you watch this lecture, which you're already doing. Second thing is you watch the lecture on the adulterous woman. I know you've already completed the work for the adulterous woman. I get that. Okay. But I want you to watch the adulterous woman, because in the video, I do a comparison. I talk about how it's similar to the story of an hour. I go through it all. And I talk about how it's similar. Okay. This is important because for essay 1, which we're going to start writing, like I think I'm going to go into it. I think I want to start talking about it next week. You are going to be writing a compare and contrast analysis of the story of an hour and the adulterous woman. And you're going to be applying Simone de Beauvoir to that essay. Okay. So I want you to watch the lecture on the adulterous woman, so you see how there are similar stories, pretty much like this. Story of an Hour came out, was read, people read it, and the main character dies. Then Albert Camus reads it. Albert Camus reads it like 30, 40 years after it was published. And he's like, I don't think the character should have died. Okay. So I want to rewrite this story. And I'm going to put my own existential spin on it. And so he rewrites the story of an hour. And so there's so much he pulled from the story of an hour to write in The Adulterous Woman. And he leaves a lot of the same stuff, but he changes some things. He changes the ending, definitely. Okay. So you need to watch my videos so that way you can write essay 1. When you're done with that, when you're done watching my lecture, okay, and seeing how awesome it is, you are going to read Hills Like White Elephants, which will go pretty fast because it's all dialogue and it's like 4 pages. Okay. And then you're going to watch the analysis of that story, which goes by pretty fast as well. Okay. So that way you understand the story. And then you are going to do the Hills Like White Elephants assignment, which I'll want to show you where to find it. And then you're going to read The Sea Change. I'm telling you, this week is great with literature. It's just some really great stories. Okay. You're going to read The Sea Change, which is a great story. The style is the same as Hills Like White Elephants. It's just all dialogue. It's great. And then after you read it, watch the analysis and be like, oh my God, that's amazing. What? Okay. And then you're going to complete that assignment. Okay. And then finally, you're going to do discussion 3 post. Which did you like better? Now, I'm going to go and tell you this, that I'm probably not going to grade all of these that following Monday. I'll probably be grading these as you're posting them. Okay. So that way to kind of keep up with it. All right. I'm not going to give zeros though until that following Monday. But I don't want to do a whole lot of like, whatever you submit, I want it to be the final copy. Submit it. Okay. I don't want you to submit the work and then watch the analysis and then be like, oh my God, Byers, I need to redo that work because now that I watched the video, I realized I did this time it wrong or I misunderstood it. So can I redo it? No. This week, I want you to only submit what is you're finally done with. Mainly because I want to get early. I want to start grading earlier because I don't want to grade all 3 assignments at one time. It'll take too long. Okay. All right. So let me show you where all this stuff is. Now, look, these stories are interesting. They're supposed to be interesting and thought-provoking. So I hope that you enjoy them and that you find the analysis of them interesting. Okay. New share. Okay. All right. So let's see here. No, I just had this total fear that that I wasn't sharing the right screen, which I really hope you could have seen my PowerPoint. If not, I want to write a note in the discussion board saying, listen, my screen wasn't sharing like I thought it was. So what you should do is download the PowerPoint, play my audio, and then go through the PowerPoint as I'm talking about it over the audio. Okay. Okay. So this week is mostly in lesson 3. Go to lessons. Okay. Lesson 3. Hills Like White Elephants. Okay. So you will download that, which is the story. Watch it. I'm sorry. Download it, read it, then watch the lecture. Read it, watch it, and then address the following questions. Okay. Which is all these questions are discussed in the lecture. They're all discussed in the lecture. Okay. Same thing with the sea change. Read the sea change right there. Watch the video, the lecture, and then answer the questions. Okay. Then go down to the discussion board. So you've read Hills Like White Elephants. You've watched the lecture video. You have answered the questions. You've read the sea change, watched the lecture. You've answered the questions. Then go to discussion board. And here, discussion number 3. Okay. Discussion 3. Discuss what you liked and disliked about the 2 stories, Hills Like White Elephants and the sea change. Which story did you like more? Discuss what you think are the philosophical themes of each story. Boom. And then reply to 2 people. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. All right. So that's the work. That's where you find it. Okay. I hope everything's going well. I hope that y'all are enjoying the class. Hope you're enjoying the readings. Hope you have a good week. Okay. And let me know if you need anything. Okay. All right. Bye-bye then.